Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm Betsey Bishop, and this is my friend Sarah Robbins. And I'm just absolutely so tickled that we hit on this idea, Sarah, to talk about some things that you've been working on. You've had an incredibly crazy year, and I wanted you to have a chance to share that as well as to share something really exciting that is
You're
about to
gonna go through it
happen
in first,
that
16
I have been able to
written.
actually appropriate myself. Thank you so much for that. And I'll give you the little sneak peek. I actually have a copy of her new book. I think is it an advanced copy? Am I like the only person who has one almost?
Yeah, you've got like a super advanced copy because like the shiny copies are just starting to come out, but
Oh,
the
okay.
inside of your book is the inside of this one, but pretty soon we're gonna have the sparkly news. So
Oh,
it's
look at
coming.
that.
It's
Okay.
coming. These just came on my doorstep today. I got
Really
like the
pretty.
first 20, so they're
Great.
pretty.
That's really pretty. Oh, I love that. Well, leave it to you to put something sparkly on.
Always sparkly. Listen, we're in good company here. All of the sisters who like
That's
sparkles. Let's
right.
do
There's a
this.
lot of
Come
it.
on.
I know we've got
Yes.
a little bit of
I'm
that.
in good
And
company.
I think we have other companies represented too, which is even more fun as well, which we love. All
Awesome.
right, so Sarah, you and I met a couple of years ago when I joined your Made to Multiply mastermind, and it's a pretty fairly small group of people. And I want to tell you, my life has changed dramatically since I started with your mastermind and since I met you. And not only has my faith grown, my faith in the Lord, but also my understanding of what I'm capable of what's ahead of me in my business and in being an entrepreneur. And so you've given me so much of that. And so I so appreciate you. And I know we're going to be friends forever and ever. So
Yeah. I'm
this
so
is a
thankful
real
for you,
joy.
Betsy, and you are an incredible leader. And I'm so thankful that our paths have crossed. And listen, for everyone listening, I believe a healthy profession is healthy for all of us. And we rise when we lift other people up. The wisdom, the gifts that we have, they aren't just for us, they're meant to be shared with other people. And so, what we've created is just a true sisterhood, which is incredible. And I'm so excited to be able to share little bits of that with all of you today.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Some of these ladies know you, and some are in for a huge treat. So, do you want to start from the very beginning?
Let's start from the very beginning. I started in our industry nearly 20 years ago when I was a young school teacher. I was a kindergarten teacher with no network. So, kind of a funny story. I was shy and I had 19 cents in my bank account. And I'll tell you how I found the industry. I was actually praying for opportunity. So, I want you to write this down. I'm going to give you value in every answer is today I'm somebody's answer, and you are. Today I am somebody's answer, and you are. I was praying for opportunity. And sometimes we think the product is our hero product,
Hmm.
but you know, your opportunity is a hero product too, because it actually transforms lives. And that's something we should be sharing every single day. Um, Although I was the most requested teacher in the building, teacher tenure trumped performance. So I was facing the loss of my job in the recession of '08. I lived in Metro Detroit, Motown, Motor City. We all know what happened to the automotive industry. That's right, Lori. Back in the recession of '08, it was hit hard and families were moving, schools were closing, homes were foreclosing. So I started to pray for an extra stream of income, and that's how I found direct sales. I didn't find it. My company was when it was in direct sales. Actually, first found it when it was a retail brand, and our founders just basically wanted to find ways that they could reach more people. They decided to leave retail, go into direct sales, and I was freelancing for them. I was making 20 bucks an hour doing events, happened to be in the right place at the right time when our account executive called and she was like, hey, good news and bad news. Bad news is you're going to lose this job. That was my $20 an hour, like extra income. But the good news is we have another opportunity for you. We're going to leave retail, go into direct sales. Do you want to do this? Now, I will be the first to say I didn't know anything about sales or direct sales, except for the fact that I said I would never do it. But it was my mom who was a savvy, successful serial entrepreneur. She did every at home business to stay home with her three babies, her three girls growing up. We had an at home daycare. She did real estate. She did direct sales. And she was like, Sarah, I know the stories of people who build these businesses and become successful. We would be crazy not to do this. I'm the firstborn child. Any other firstborns in here? And generally, we are the compliant child, unless you're like the stray wild child. I was a compliant child. I listened to my mother. And even though I said I didn't want to do it, I'm like, well, my mom said to try it. So that's what I did. I will tell you, I became a student of the profession. I bought every book. I attended every event, whether it was industry or company. I thought if other people can be successful doing this, so can I. And throughout the years, we streamlined our systems. We made them very simple. We call that system the multiply method. We ended up building the $1 billion sales team, broke records in the industry. We did that in about 5 years, and really all through simple systems. So that's how it all started.
So then something else happened.
Something else happened.
You did all of that, and then one day, poof.
Yeah, poof, gone. And I'm going to tell you that story. And I hope to first, before I tell you the story, because I do not like to create fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, power, love, and a sound mind. So I'm not going to ever plant seeds of fear in you. When I tell you the story, I don't want you to go, oh, what if this happens to me? Okay, here's the thing I want you to hear. Our story is so rare because it's a tale of private equity. Okay, so there was a lot of things that kind of went into this. Even though when we hear like, these big like shock stories, I want you to think, okay, this has happened to less than a handful of companies. So before I even tell my story, I'm going to say this up front because I want to crush any, like, we're not going to go to a place of fear, but I'm actually going to leave you with hope in terms of why I chose the industry again. The industry has been around for over 100 years. The industry is not dying. It's changing. Think about the days. Remember when, we saw the Avon ladies that went door to door? Anybody remember that? Now we're living in this social economy where people are selling on social media. So it's not dying, it's evolving. It's changing, right? So we have to evolve and change with the trends of the industry. If you owned a traditional business, that would be no different. Okay. So again, very, very rare story. Our company had $1 billion cash injection, private equity company. They don't see people, they see numbers. And they said, oh, what's the fastest way to, get the $1 billion back? Why are we paying hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of people a paycheck? We got a call one day. It was an scheduled leadership call, and it was an attorney on the line. And they let us know that in 2 months, we would be losing about 99.9999999% of our income because our sales teams were going away. They were going straight to an affiliate model. And here's the thing I will tell you. First of all, there's a few lessons in that story. I'm so grateful for that season. I've never once held on to bitterness, feelings of betrayal, unforgiveness. There's lessons to be learned in that, by the way. And I was quick to just forgive, to honor. And it took me about a second to go, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And actually, a friend of mine in Betsey, she was interviewed for the Shift podcast with Blake Mill. And I was talking to him. He's like, you could double down on your coaching programs. You could get a corporate job. I was like, oh, no, thanks. You could, start your own company. I was like, that sounds like a lot of work. I got 2 businesses, right? Or I had 2 businesses, my network marketing business, my coaching business. I had 2 babies, a 4-year-old, a 9-year-old. I'm like, hold on here. What other business can I do on my time and my terms? What other business is low cost, no risk? What other business can I become profitable right away and really change lives, like at scale? And I thought, took me a split second, of course I'm going to do it again. I'm not starting over. I'm starting with wisdom and years of experience. I'm starting with a proven system. And so that's why I decided to do it again. And the thing is, it's nearly 20 years of a story. And if I were fearful, I'd be running for the hills. I would not be doing this again and betting my name and network on a second chance in network marketing. I'm so confident in this model, what it not only offers to us, but to other people on our team. And I look at all the good that our income does, like the impact that allows us to make. I was sharing earlier today on a call that we've built orphanages overseas. We've housed hundreds of kids. We gifted our first home, like our actual like family home, to a family in need. And so for me, again, it wasn't a question of if, it was just figuring out, okay, where, and let's do it again. And I'll tell you a few things that helped us to fare well in that season, because I think this will help you as well. Was number one, we doubled down on leadership and
Mhm.
relationships in the good times and the hard times. Leaders don't just lead in the mountaintop, they lead in the valleys too. It's like Betsey, who's been an incredible leader, who has continued to lead and be on the forefront with her team. I did that as well. And it caused my team to say, you know what? We want to be a part of this next chapter with you. The next thing was too, is just, building a personal brand, how we show up on social media. That's a really smart thing to do. We're not defined by a company, right? It's like what we carry, and your success will follow you wherever you go.
I get the sense, having watched you through all of this, because I met you before it all happened, and I had the privilege of watching all of this unfolding. I have gotten the sense that in this building phase 2.0, that it has allowed you the ability to think really clearly, step by step by step by step, like what are the systems, and that's where the book really came from, the multiply method. I mean, you've had it all. You've taught all of us within the mastermind all of these nuggets of wisdom, but to actually have to put it all into a single book, it probably took this kind of a thing to happen, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. So I want to share this. This book was ready to be released when the news hit. And all of a sudden I was like, well, God apparently had another
The
chapter for
plan,
me to write.
right?
I'm actually really thankful because, a lot of times books or even just coaching in general can come from wisdom, and wisdom is good, but you also want to make sure that, it also contains an element of relevancy too, that she didn't just build a $1 billion sales team 20 years ago, but here she is in the trenches
Yeah.
doing it again. And I think the interesting perspective is this was years of experience. These are the systems that we use to build success. But then I had to pause and go, okay, I'm starting with a customer base of zero.
Right.
I'm starting with no name in this new network. And as I am doing the reach outs, as I am doing the follow ups, as I am onboarding new people, what am I actually doing today? So I actually got to comb through every single word of the book and say, oh, actually, today I'm going to do this a little different. And there are some things like relationships, like follow up, all of these things that are relevant and remain. But then there are new things because of technology and social media that I've been able to add in. And so it comes from a really unique place of here's years of experience, but here I am in the trenches building just like you today,
Mhm.
and really what is working right now. And I think that gives some unique perspective.
Yeah. Now, in a couple minutes, I'm going to pepper you with some questions, and I know some of the answers will most likely be coming out of what is in the book. But I want to say something about the book going into this. The first thing is that it's a little bit like Cheesecake Factory. You know, when you walk into Cheesecake Factory and you see those big cheesecakes and you buy one and you take a whole big cheesecake home, you know it's going to be delicious and you can't eat it all in one sitting, right? Probably can't even eat a whole slice in one sitting. This book feels like that to me as I was reading through it. I had to keep reading it and then putting it down, reading it and then putting it down. And I'll tell you why. There's so much um, deep information in it that I got to thinking that this is not only the best book that I have read for our industry in 23 years, but it's also the book that I think people need to have on hand or have access to one way or another in those discouraged moments, in the confused moments, because there's so many guideposts in this book of all the things that you've learned. I mean, I feel like you just poured your heart and soul into all of this. So the
Thank
thing
you.
that I love most about you, Sarah, is that you not only share what you've learned without respect to company. You don't care if it's party plan, you don't care if it's a competitor.
Yep.
You want to elevate our industry, and that's what I care about so much. That's your perspective. That you, and in fact, in all of our coaching, all the different places where you do coaching and training, you specifically say there will be no recruiting, there will be no selling. Like you make it clear that this is a profession and we will be professionals in all this. And so I value that in you.
Yeah.
The most important thing that I love about this is that you really believe that people are way more important than product and profit. And everything that I see in all of that you've taught us over the years and in this book shows that people are more important, that honoring others, the preciousness of others is really important, even down to every conversation, every text message, every social selling engagement. It's about the other person. So where did that come from, Sarah? Like, did that just happen all of a sudden, or is that just sort of who you are?
Yeah, I think there's an element of this is who we are, but it's, I always say people over profit, relationship over revenue. And
Mm,
that is the thing that I realized is, in order to be great at networking, right? That's part of what we do, network marketing, right? Direct sales, party plan. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. We are in a relationship business. And I've learned the hard way. I remember one time, now again, I was young, I was eager. I remember approaching somebody for the first time. It was at a cosmetic counter, and I thought, oh, I'd love to share the opportunity with her. And I go over and I do like the network marketing verbal vomit. Like it's just like, the word vomit. And it was all about me, and I'm like, hello. I don't even remember what I said, but here's what I do remember. She looked at me like a deer in headlights. I ran to my car. I cried. Again, don't judge. I was in my young 20s. Okay. I call my mom, who's my sponsor, right? What's a girl to do? She calls her mom to cry. And I'm like, do I go back there? She's like, do not go back there. Get out of there. And I remember driving home, like big, ugly tears. I'm like, how am I going to be successful in a business of networking if I'm afraid to talk to people? And that's where we just get it wrong sometimes. It's like with them, what's in it for me versus tiny, their interest, not yours. And so I've learned a different approach, and I'll share with you this approach right now. And I want you to leave with real tangible wisdom and nuggets. Write it down. I'm going to explain it to you, and then we'll go through it. But it goes like this: compliment, conversation, connection. I'll share how this will work in person, like with people you don't know. So, like the lady at the cosmetic counter. And then I'll share with you how this works with people you do know. So let's first start with people you do know. So it's compliment, conversation, connection. So let's pretend for a minute that Betsey is not in direct sales. Okay, let's just pretend her and I are friends, we're neighbors. And I'm thinking, okay, I really want to reach out. I want to tell Betsey a little bit more about my business, but maybe it's been a while. Here's the thing. How many of you truly, like honest to goodness truth, okay, Betsey, you included, myself included, how many of you have out to every single contact you have on your social media, A through Z, Facebook and Instagram? Raise your hand.
nope.
You get a prize if you do. Now we're all gonna be like, woo, no, just kidding. We've not. And here's the thing. People say to me, where do I find people? I'm like, we're surrounded by people. The question is, what do I say? And that's the biggest thing. It's like, we don't want to slide into the DMs. We don't want to spam our best friend. Nobody here wants to do that, right? Like none of us. Nothing is worth that to us. It's like ruining a relationship. Like, no thanks. We're in a relationship business. So how do we avoid that? We give you words that work. So what I would do is if I were to go through my contacts A through Z, I would never run out of leads. I would go to Betsey's profile, her Facebook or her Instagram, and I would scroll for a little bit and find something to compliment or congratulate her on to start the conversation. So that could be she bought a new home. That could be a kid going to college, or maybe, they've got younger kids, kid going to preschool. That could be, a career change, whatever the case may be, anything in their life that you could compliment or congratulate her on. Okay. So what I would say is, first of all, state the obvious. Betsey, I know it's been a while. Your post popped up in my feed. Congratulations on your new home. So I want you to hear that. Okay. I didn't pitch her anything. Betsey, it's been a while. I stated the obvious. Your post popped up in my feed. Congratulations on fill in the blank. Now, how do I get into conversation? I ask a question. So the next thing might be, how's the move going? How are you and your family doing? The number one thing people love to talk about is themselves. And guess what? It's so easy to have conversation when you're making it about the other person, because all you have to do is ask questions and you're going to stay in conversation. And often people say in my coaching program, so, well, how long does that go for? Is it a couple questions? And is it a couple days? Is it a couple weeks? We were all born with the gift of discernment. It's when the time feels right. Again, focus on the person over the profit, the relationship over the revenue. They may or may not do business with you, but I can promise you this, if you build a relationship, they will refer people onto you. When the time feels right, make the connection. So I could say, oh, I see you live in Detroit. I have a business that's expanding there. And I'll just pause. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, what is it? If they don't say what it is, then I can say, oh, have you heard of Touchstone before? Ask them, start a conversation. Okay. Now, if you don't know where they live, you can say, so where are you guys living now? Oh, I have a business that's expanding there. Wherever they live is where you are expanding. Are you not? You're expanding your business everywhere, right?
Totally.
It's the truth. And so wait for them to say, what is it? If they don't say what it is, just say, curious, have you heard of? Ask them. And here's the thing. Then from there, I love to take it offline. And I'll say, I would love to pick your brain to get some ideas of ways to grow there, but also just get caught up. I'd love to treat you to coffee or a virtual coffee, my treat. I'll send them a little Starbucks e-card and we set up a time and we connect. Now, how does this work with people you don't know? Same thing, compliment. I could go and, be in the grocery store and I could see Sharon and I could say, oh my gosh, your hat is so cute. Ask her a question. Where'd you get it? Get in conversation with people. Really, we make selling too hard. This is so simple. How do I stay in conversation? Just asking her more questions. It could be a few seconds. It could be a few minutes. And then I'm going to make the connection and I'm going to say, I've loved connecting with you. Are you on social? Add me on Facebook. Okay. And then she's a part of my kind of online audience. She starts seeing, and then I can go ahead and I can follow up. So remember that when you're stuck with that, you see that sharp person, you're like, how do I start that conversation? She would be perfect for my business. Or you're going through on social and it's like, you've got, I don't like to call it a chicken list, but you've got like that champion list. And you're like, that person would be amazing. What is greater, the risk or the reward? I'm typing the message. I'm holding down the voice memo button. Like, we're doing the thing. Pay him a compliment, right? Get in conversation, ask some questions, then make the connection to your business when the time feels right.
So you don't feel like it has to be an immediate 1-2 punch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, basic question. How do you keep track of all these people? Have you in the past taken notes? Have you kept a notebook? I know the inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I'm the pen to paper person.
Okay.
Now I know some of you guys, you love to do, more of that like kind of digital follow up. That is fine too.
Mhm.
But for me, I never take anybody off of my list. I put them on my VIP list. So I'm going to give you a real practical tip right now. If somebody tells me no for the business or products, I follow up with 2 words. By the way, I get tons of words that work in the book, but I follow up with 2 words in a statement. If somebody says no, I say, no problem. So write that down, no problem. I'd love to put you on my VIP list for future offers and events. So if somebody says no, so let's say Betsey's like, no, thanks. I would say, oh, no problem. I would love to put you with your permission on my VIP list for future offers and events. And here's the thing, you know what that gives you permission to do? Follow up. Sales 101, it takes an average of 7 exposures for somebody to say yes. So I can invite her in the future to one of my events. Hey, earlier you expressed interest. Would you like to take another look? If I have a special on my products, hey, earlier you expressed interest. We've got a great offer right now. Would you like to take another peek? Okay. And this gives me permission to follow up. And we all know by now in this business, the fortune is in the follow up.
Sarah, this is such a pivotal point. I have observed over time that the real reason that people don't offer something is because they are afraid of the no. And they don't know what to say to no. They don't know how to respond to no. And so they're completely uncomfortable, don't want to be put in that position. But you just gave us the perfect answer, which is no problem. Can I? And then you follow through with what you just said. And I think that's very comfortable. And those are words that we can practice, right? To come
Yeah.
out of our mouths. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's a good point of what you said. I always tell new distributors for a company, you will hear no. It is normal. No is not a 4-letter word.
Mhm.
I say this, it's not personal rejection. It's just personal preference. It's our job to share. It's theirs to decide. I'll give you a quick example of this. Okay. So Let's take our business aside for a moment, because I know sometimes we get caught in our head when it comes to just the business conversation. Let's say that I were to be prospecting for school teachers, okay? And I want everyone here to be honest, okay? We're gonna, Scouts on, or we're all gonna be honest here. So I'm gonna give you kind of a pretend scenario, but I want you to answer honestly how you would truly answer. So I'm polling the audience, okay? And I'm asking all 34 of you here, okay? So be honest in your responding. I have a job and it's teaching kindergarten. That's my former profession. It's teaching kindergarten. It's in your district. You'll have to start tomorrow. I want you to think about average pay, like what does the teacher get paid in your area? So average pay, how many of you would take the job? Raise your hand. Okay, Renee, Dina, anyone else? 2 of the 34. What is wrong with the rest of you? Carol's shaking her head. She's like, no. Now here's the thing. We get so caught up with this idea of personal rejection. It's not personal rejection, it's personal preference. Not everybody wants to be a teacher. Not everybody wants to sell a product. That's okay. It's not for everybody. But if you keep sharing, you will find the people that it's for. I've done this, by the way, this example in rooms full of hundreds of people and thousands of people. Typically, it's like a few people that raise their hand. And I'll say to them, I'm like, what's wrong with the rest of you? You don't like teachers. You don't like me. And I joke around, right? Like my feelings are hurt. And they're like, oh no, we're so grateful for teachers. We're grateful for you. And again, it's not personal rejection. It's personal preference. You think about it this way. There's a lady, she's a waitress. I used to wait tables. Anybody else? You do the thing, okay? It's like your $2.75 an hour, and then you pray that somebody leaves a good tip. But you'd go around and you would offer the refills of the coffee. Some people say yes, some people say no. When people cover their cup, that waitress doesn't stop and start crying. What does she keep doing? She keeps pouring. It is our job to share. It is theirs to decide. It is not personal rejection. It's simply personal preference.
I think it's so interesting that your mother started and you started right away, but your sister Emily did not start for 10 years. Was it 10
Uh,
years?
10 years. That is a really funny story, by the way. So my mom and I built incredible sales teams, built to a billion less than 5 years. And it was my youngest sister. She was a teacher as well. And for 10 years, she would say, no, you know what I did? So here's a tip for you. If you have people who tell you no, but you're like, oh, they'd be great. I was like, I've got a great referral rewards program. I will reward you for your referrals. Company didn't have it, but I gave her free product or a portion of my cash bonus, kind of like a little finder's fee, if she referred people on who joined. Now, she's a teacher. That extra $50 here and there, it meant a lot. So she would start posting on social. If I had an event, I'd be like, hey, if you want to share. So she posts about this event that we were hosting in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And a nurse friend of ours sees the post and says, hey, I'm interested in learning more about this. I need some extra income. I want to work at home from my smartphone. Like, let's do the thing. And so she asked my sister, she said, would you connect me to your sister? And Emily says, yes. I paid my sister the $50 because Emily, the nurse, they're both Emily's, ended up joining. Emily, the nurse, ended up being one of the top leaders in our company.
Gosh.
I paid $50 for that referral. My sister eventually was like, okay. No, I will tell you, and this should encourage you, is, no doesn't mean no forever. It can be no, not now, or I don't know enough. People's timing has to be right too. So 10 years later, she's in a place where now she's got her own little kids. And she's like, I want to do for my own kids what I've done for so many as a teacher. And what I've seen Sarah, able to do for her little boys. And so she reaches out to my mom first, of course. And she's the young ones. The young ones are the rebels. And she's like, don't you dare tell Sarah that I'm asking, which to me still is so weird. I'm like, what was I going to do? Big bad boogeyman. Like my sisters and I were all really close, but she's like, do not tell Sarah that I'm asking, but I'm actually interested in the business. If I do sign up, I'm going to sign up with her, but don't tell. And 10 years later, she ended up joining and being a top leader on our company and in our team. So think about, how do you handle those no's as well? Have you asked people for a referral? Have you left them with a sample, right? See, we don't have to hit a prospecting wall if we know where to go from the no, right? It's no problem. I'll put you on my VIP list. And by the way, Do you know anybody that the products or business would be great for? And it might be time that you start asking your customers too, who do you know? I've got a great referral program. That's a great way to create a source and a supply of unending leads as well. It's just asking, who do you know?
That's such an interesting component too. And when you think about it, Emily at that moment was then seeing that her other friend Emily started being successful. That same thing could happen to us. Those
Yes.
referrals could end up being super happy that they were a part, became a part of our company, and the one who did the referring could suddenly go, wait a minute, what have I been missing all this time? I think that's so important. One of the things that I was been taught all these years is that women's lives change every 3 to 6 months. Something's different in women's lives enough that they would want to take a look at the business or trying the new product or things like that.
That's very good.
How does all of this play into someone who says, I like selling my product and I think I want to go into leadership?
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about?
Yeah. First of all, I want to tell you the reason why many people don't sponsor people or they don't sponsor to the capacity that they could. I've seen people with hundreds of customers, yet they didn't sponsor one person. And it's like, wait a minute, you know you're passionate about the product. So what is keeping people? Sometimes, right, we all know we've heard about like, fear of failure. But in this case, I think sometimes it's fear of failing others. That if I did sponsor somebody, what would I do next? Is anybody here honest enough to say, like, I feel that way? Or even there's been seasons where I felt this way. If I sponsored somebody, what exactly would I do? Okay, first of all, there's a whole chapter on the book on effective enrollment. But friends, it is so simple. Like starting new people can be so simple. I will walk people through the enrollment. So when they join with me, I always say, you know what? Customer service is something that we create. It's not just for a customer, it's also for the new ambassador, the new business partner. So I walk them through that enrollment because I remember what it felt like. How many of you remember what it felt like when you first started? And then we'll set that getting started appointment. And I'll tell you just some things that I focus on because I never want to train anything contradictory to the systems that your leadership has in place. But I'm going to tell you a few things to focus on. Okay. I had a new girl join and she did exceptionally well. She doesn't have industry experience. She didn't come from another company. She's a mom. I think she's 45, just had her first baby. So quite impressive. And everybody's going, how in the heck, in 2 weeks did you promote earn your first bonus and doing all the things? And she shared just some of the things she did. But here's what to hone in on. She said, Sarah said to me, here are your next steps. Next steps are, we're going to launch your business. So here's what I want you to hear. She said, she didn't ask me, do I want to launch my business? Did you hear that? A lot of times, okay, if I were to say to you right now, who wants to go work out with me? Anyone? Okay. See, I got a few people to say you didn't want to be a teacher, but you do want to work out. Okay, kudos to you. But let me just say this, very few, right? It's like, who wants to do the work, right? I'll do it. So instead of asking permission-based questions, people join you because they want to be successful. So I said to her, I said, here are the next steps. Next steps are we're going to launch your business. Where I gave choice was, now this is obviously you guys follow what you do for events for your company, but it made sense for ours. I said, do you want to launch locally? So like an in-person event? Do you want to do virtually? So like a Zoom? Or some people even today, like a social media is changing, they like to do a live video. Fine, let's do a live video. So it wasn't a question of, are we going to launch your business? Here are the next steps. How do you want to launch? And we got that date on the calendar. When you launch somebody with some sort of event, and I know I'm talking to the right crowd here, because let me just say, the girls in Party Plan could teach the girls in network marketing a thing or two, or three, or four. Inside of our mastermind, inside of my coaching program, Betsey's heard me say a million times, I don't care if you're in an events-based company or not, you need to launch people with events. Why? That is where your new person gets their first crop of customers. It's their network. It's low hanging fruit, right? It's their supporters, people who want to support them, be happy for them, right? Versus a stranger. They get their first crop of customers. They make their first promotion. They get their first paycheck. It builds belief. I don't have to pile on 8 million to-dos. Why? The thing that they are focused on during that first month is a simple skill set, and it's something we all know how to do. You want to know what that skill set is? Inviting. How many of you have invited to a birthday party before? A graduation party, right? Every single hand would, we have all invited to something. So I'm teaching them something, or I'm not even teaching them something. They're starting with a second, they know how to invite. So all we really like, our major focus, I'm not going to say the only thing we do, because again, everybody has different onboarding systems for their business. But one of the main things we focus on is launching their business with an event and just keeping them focused on inviting. In fact, fun story about that nurse, Emily. She said, initially I was going to quit, but because I already had the invitations out, I was like, she literally was like, I was going to cancel and be like, just kidding. And she said, but because the invitations went out, RSVPs came in, I'm like, I'm just going to do the one event. And that's where she had that first wave of customers, that first wave of belief. And it was enough to go, all right, this works. There's something to do this. I'm going to do this again next month. So that was one of the strongest ways to start new people. So I think when you think about, I want to take that next step into leadership, I want to take that next step into team building. How do we do it? Very simple. It's here are the next steps, and you're going to lead and guide people through. And then it's kind of like that see one, do one, teach one, right? They teach in the medical field. It's like, I'm going to do the first one for you. We might do the next one together. And then eventually, free bird, they're going to fly. They're going to do their thing. They're going to start hosting their own events, and they're going to do the thing, but based on your example.
Mhm. I love that. And it gives them, like you said, it gives them that first paycheck right away and that taste of success right away, as opposed, and that taste of success strips away any sense of fear of failure, especially if they can then capitalize on the next step, and then you help them with the next step. I love that. Now you brought up, and I'm watching the time, Sarah, because we're at 7:40.
You're good.
Brought up something about social media just a second ago, and I want you to touch on that because so much has changed since you and I came into the industry. This is still very much a personal business, but yet here we're meeting people online, communicating with people online that we've never met or would have never met in any other way. What are your thoughts on all of this? You've taught me an awful lot about
Yeah.
this, but can you give some high level key points
Yeah.
about social media for us?
I love teaching social media because that's how I generate the majority of my leads. And most of them actually come to me. When I built my business in the boom of Facebook, where you used to be able to say you posted a hot dog and you had like 5,000 likes, and all of a sudden everybody's got like all the comments and questions. And now so much has changed, right? So in order to succeed on social media today, your posts have to do two things. You can write this down and then I'll explain. They have to perform well with your audience, and I'll explain, and in the algorithm. Just write that down. You may be like, what even is that? Don't worry, we'll get there. They have to perform well with your audience and in the algorithm. So, with the audience, this is pretty simple. You want to give great value. You want to every day pause before you post and say, how can I make his or her life easier or better today? If your audience is mainly women, I'd guess those of you selling bling, it mainly is for me. I checked my insights on Instagram and Facebook. If you don't know how to do that, you can chat GPT that. And it shows me the majority of my followers are middle-aged women. So I know I'm speaking to her when I'm creating content. We sometimes get so tempted to sell every day. Okay. I always say a post today keeps leads coming your way, but not all of them should be about your business. Majority of them, let's say 8 out of 10, okay, or 1 out of 5, should be value posts, education, inspiration, humor, okay? So you want to think about, when we talk about engagement or the algorithm, right? We're talking about likes, comments, saves, shares. I'll talk about that in a moment. But like in real life, what's going to actually cause people to hit the like button? And here's the thing. If you never want to deal with the algorithm again, anybody you're like, I don't want to have to keep up with all the stuff, be the place that people check on purpose. Be the place that people check on purpose. Like they're like, oh, Laura Durso, I go to her page every day because I know she's going to encourage me. I go to Louise's page every day because I know she's going to inspire me. I go to Carol's page every day because she's going to make me laugh. She gives me humor. She makes me laugh. So ultimately, you want to think about that is, are you the place that people check on purpose? And if you kind of struggle with what to post, that's where you can actually have ChatGPT help you a little bit and give you some ideas of content pillars. Like, what are some things that I can post about besides my business? So you want to think about, do people actually like what I post? If it's crickets every day, it means you're selling too much. Okay. Here's one thing to steer clear of, by the way: links and too much sales language. Links are automatically, it used to be we could post links. They're automatically going to suppress your posts because the algorithm says, no thanks, this is a social platform, not a sales platform. Think about it this way. Zuck is like your jealous ex-boyfriend. He doesn't want you going somewhere else. So if you're going to leave the platform and go somewhere else, they want you to stay on social media all day. Don't post links, okay? Sales language is similar now because of AI. We've all heard of AI, right? It sweeps your post and says, wait a minute, girlfriend's trying to sell something here. We're not going to show this to people. So how do you change that? Now let's talk about posts that perform with your algorithm. This is where I answer that question, okay? We create posts that perform with the algorithm, which just means get greater engagement. All that means, I'm going to translate that as your posts are seen by more people. Do you want your posts to be seen by more people? That's not vanity metrics. You can shake your head and say yes, okay? Here's why. More engaged followers are potential customers for you. Of course you want people to see it. If you're going to work hard posting, yes. So what does the algorithm reward? Likes and loves, like somebody hits the button or they hold it down to do love, saves and shares. So think about what things would get saved: recipes, shared, tips, comments and conversation. So people are commenting. And I want you to write this down. Conversation is the currency of social media. Okay, conversation is the currency of social media. What do I mean by that? And what do you do with that? If I'm talking about a product of mine, instead of posting a link, I'm going to say, if you want to know how to get this for free, or if you want to know how to save some extra money, drop the word bling for more info. You want to tell people what to do. It's like, pop the comment bling. Or if I'm talking about the business, drop the word insider for more info. Okay, here's an advanced tip. You don't want to say message me for more info. Do you want to know why? Then no one comments on your post. So it doesn't help with your engagement. Also, people usually, they don't want to stop. You don't want to interrupt their pattern. They're going to have to stop, go to your inbox and message you. And they're like, what do I say to Jackie? I'm not quite sure. They won't do it. I have 500,000 collective followers on social. I say message me for info. No one messages me. Instead, I'll say comment the word blank for more info. Now, sales happens in conversation. But conversation is currency of social media. When I told them to drop a word below for info, now they're in the comment section. And now you actually know, versus a link you didn't know who to follow up with because you didn't know who clicked. Now, if Helena comments the word bling, I can say, thanks so much for your comment. Have you ever tried anything like this before? Or if Leslie hits the heart button, I can say, thank you for your love on my post. Have you ever, tried our product before? And I can actually follow up. So I want you to be thinking about, how do I get people? And you usually have to give them instructions to like or love. That's not the most the highly weighted engagement. The best is comments or conversation. You can do that by a one-word call to action or ending with a question. Like instead of saying, oh, I love my new water bottle, you can be like, how do you get your water intake? Ask a question that causes them to get in the comment section. And then save and share. So I gave some good examples of that. Like anything teaching, you can say, hey, if you learned a lot, share it with somebody who needs it. A recipe would be good for like, hey, if this helped, save it for later. Your whole goal is this. The more you warm up the algorithm, right? The more your posts are seen by more people, then when you actually post something about your business the next day, chances are greater that they see that post. That's why, and this is just $1 million tip for you. Before you post a business post, the day before, always post something that's going to get great engagement. I'll never forget the day that I needed a bottom lash mascara. Anybody feel me? It's like, why do they always go down here? Why? And one day I asked the ladies, I see now we're all doing this. I asked the ladies, I said, ladies, what do you use for bottom lash mascara that doesn't smudge or budge? Y'all would have thought I was like giving away $1 million. People were in the comments section and they had an opinion. And I'm telling you, that post got so much engagement because I was asking people. Usually it can be something that strikes a conversation or even controversy. Now, I'm not talking about controversy that's going to cause you to get unfriended or blocked or muted or whatever, because people can do that now on social media. But it's like healthy controversy. Like, who likes candy corn? I mean, really, like, let's talk about that for a minute. But again, you have to think about what is going to get people in the comment section. We had to end with a laugh, you know?
Oh my word. Well, Sarah, I wish we had about, I don't know how many hours because this is so much fun. I'm trying to get back to, what can you all see? Can you see just speaker mode or can you see everybody?
I see all of us.
You see everybody? Okay,
Yeah.
everybody sees everybody. Okay, great. Somebody take a picture of all of us waving at Sarah while we're at
Oh,
it. Well, before I forget. And then what I need Sarah to do is to tell us what to do about this book and other things that you have coming up, because I know you have some fun stuff coming up that if we,
okay.
because I know
Bread.
I always want to hear more of Sarah. So if you want to hear more of Sarah, now's your chance to hear where you can get that.
Let me just tell you, we do not have to stop this party. Let's keep it going. If you guys want to learn more, I mean, if you are loving the words at work, if you want simple systems, by the way, I am the simple seller because I believe what you simplify, you multiply. And this was a secret to our success. I mean, truly built the fastest growing sales team in the history of our industry, just our team, not our company, our team. It was because of simple systems. And this will work for anybody in any company. Okay. So let me just tell you, you can buy one copy. You can pre-order now. And we're going to put you in a 30-day challenge for free and also give you the workbook for free. You just have to enter in your receipt at themultiplymethod.com. Okay. And Betsy can share this link with you as well or put it in the chat. If you guys pre-order 5 copies, and you may be going, what do I do with 5 copies of the book? This is for your team or your future team, which you are sure to get. And I want you to think about this is going to help you to multiply your sales. With 5 copies of the book, this is our most popular package right now. We're actually going to give you book club and small group coaching for free. I'm going to coach you through my entire system step by step. This is the only time we're doing it. I'm super, super excited. Okay. So when you go to the multiplymethod.com, now I would purchase soon because we're almost full. We got to be able to fit everybody in the Zoom room. The 5 copies will give you the 6 sessions of coaching with me. So you're going to be building on the same system that I am. Okay. Again, good for anybody, any company. We'll also give you with the 5-pack, the workbook and the 30-day challenge too. And the challenge is really awesome, by the way. We just started. So you do want to get in there right away. But we give you a tip a day. So it's, a tip, a script, a post, a prompt to help you to generate leads that day in under 5 minutes every day. So check it out at themultiplymethod.com. And Betsy, thank you so much for hosting. I'm so excited to help all of your friends multiply. Thank you, Neld. I appreciate that.
We love you so much, Sarah. Thank you for being so generous and for sharing all of your wisdom with us. We wish you all the best. And we know you have another meeting to get to, and we wish you all the best success as you're growing in your new business.
Thank you. I'll leave you guys on to finish the party with Betsy, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Well,
Hope to
thank
see you
you.
guys in book club.
Okie dokie.